and we're so happy to see you. It is a gorgeous, it's just a gorgeous Thursday. It's a gorgeous
Hmm.
fall Thursday. I have the window slightly open with this crisp air coming in and the fall weather, and it feels just wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm happy to have you join us. Thank you so much for being able to be here and be a part of our coffee and chats. Um, so our coffee and chats, we've done now quite a few different iterations. And really what the concept is you get a great cup of coffee, you sit down and you chat and you talk a little bit about, what's happening in your world. And in your world, you have a lot, right? So tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about what you do, what your company does, and how you finagle literally a whole basketball team of kids.
Right. Yeah. So I coined what I like to call my minimalist method, through which I use that method through my media company, in which we help small business owners attract their ideal high end clients through their media and simple online marketing. We just take that over for them. And I thought, once I figured out this minimalist method, it really opened up my life and decluttered a lot of things for me mentally and energetically, and allowed me to be present and at home with my 5 kids, even more. So I decided, I see so many other female entrepreneurs, joking about the fact that they're having, you're having 3 cups of coffee a day and then 3 glasses of wine at night to wind down. And don't get me wrong, we all can get to that point, right? And so I decided, well, I have this minimalist method. Why don't I start to teach it to other female entrepreneurs? It's been my passion now for over a year. I've had my media company for almost a decade, and now for over a year, I've been coaching other female entrepreneurs who have a full life with kids and you maybe have the misconception that in order to get to that multi 6 figure business and hitting those 30K to 40K months like we have been, that you have to give up your marriage life and you have to give up your time with your kids, and that you'll all of a sudden just be so wrapped up in your business that you won't have time for the things that you want to do. So that's not true. And I myself work, 4 to 6 hour days, 4 to 5 days a week. And I'm able to homeschool my 5 kids and run my multi 6 figure company, as well as, actually, once I adopted the minimalist method, I feel like my marriage with my husband got even better. And he's actually in the room right now. So I get kind of blushed even saying it. But, um, it's really breaking that myth that when you have kids, you have no choice but to give up your career. And when you choose your career, you have no choice but to give up the life that you want to live with your kids. So that's my mission, to break that myth that it doesn't have to be a choice. You could choose both and have both.
I agree. So part of the reason why I switched over to full-time consulting and starting my own business is that as a single mom, I have to do everything. I have to be everything, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to do it in a way that I have the energy and the capability and the attention. And so even though I was spending a lot of time with my son, maybe it wasn't necessarily like quality time because I was just distracted, or I had my phone because I had to do emails. And so when I switched over to starting my own company, it was at a certain time, I'm just not going to answer emails. I'm not going to answer text
Mm-hmm.
messages. I'll let people know that that's my boundary. But at this time, like from the minute I pick them up from school, unless I have something that
Right.
I've created for me, I don't participate. And,
Right.
I've missed out on some things, but I've also gotten time with him, and they're only little for so long. And
Mm-hmm.
so, soon he'll be headed off to doing all kinds of other things and he won't need as much time for me. So he's really into Halloween and he is currently really into PJ Masks. So every day he gets home from school, he puts his little gecko costume on and runs around our yard yelling PJ Masks. And it's the best time ever. And I'm thankful that I have that time. And part of that is being able to know the balance of, okay, from 8:30 to 4:45, I work as hard as I want and as hard as I can to make those hours work for me. So anytime after that can be dedicated to just my family.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what I help my clients with as well. And I had a client who used to work 80 hours a week and just felt a lot of guilt when she was with her family because she felt like she should be working. And we helped work through that and helped her realize wow, I can just say I have designated work hours and that's it. And then outside of those hours, it's family time. And there's no reason for me to be thinking about my business or that I should be doing certain things during that time because other people expect me to. It's about you decide what you want, what you create, and you make it happen.
Yeah. So when you're coaching your clients, like who would be the ideal client for you? I know you said about like parents and people running companies, but like who are you looking for to support, and how do they find you?
Yeah. I love to find to help female entrepreneurs who have a full life, whether they are mothers with kids or they are grandmothers with kids. Either way, there's that craving to be with your family, and I very often connect with my clients on LinkedIn or on my personal Facebook. Or right now, I have a complimentary training happening in my Facebook group that I can actually link to this live after the fact and put it in the comments. And hey, if you would like the link to this Facebook group, I'm guiding you through. Just let us know in the comments and I'll reply back with the link. And I'm guiding you through in this Facebook group that to how you can make the choice to show up for yourself, believe that you can make it happen, declutter anything that's just a time sucker or energy drainer. And then I teach you a little bit also about money mindset and also how you can attract those ideal clients, right? Because I work with female entrepreneurs who have a full life. So, but we do a lot of work on, okay, how do we declutter your life first so that you can have room for that energy of bringing in more clients? Because if you don't declutter first the mindset and the head trash and the time suckers and energy drainers and really set those up properly, once you start attracting clients, you're just going to still be in that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And or energetically, until you've cleared those time suckers and energy drainers and gotten a clear vision of what you really want your life to be, energetically you're not making room for attracting your ideal client. So you could be on that hamster wheel that that people talk so much about, going nonstop, thinking I am doing everything I can to get those ideal clients and it's just not happening. Well, it could be that energetically it's that you're doing too much. You're putting so much on your plate, just on this energy of like you have to be to go and get, when if you would just declutter it out and just be open to receiving, the most amazing things would happen to you. And with a little bit of guidance of a few tweaks that you can do to your life and your business model, that could happen very quickly for you with the right guidance.
I agree. I believe in the law of attraction. I think that something that I've coined for myself and some of the clients that I work with is the kindness karma. And so when you give kindness, it comes back, and it comes back tenfold. And it might not come back tomorrow, and it might not come back in a week or in a year. It might be in 3 years or 10 years or who knows. But that karma, that kindness, the karma, it's built, it's in the atmosphere. And a really great example, when I worked in higher ed, I worked at a school in Georgia, and I had a student who was always getting into mischief, not trouble, but just mischief. And there were many nights that I fed him or gave him money so he could get something to eat or whatever the case may be. And he's now a very successful entrepreneur, and I'm beyond proud of him. And so he had asked me to create like a video for his company. There was something that was coming up, and it was just a short Instagram video. He said, "What do you charge?" And I told him, and gave it to him, and I get it, a Cash App notification, and it's like 4 times what I said it was. And I was like, "No, you got this wrong, unless you want like 4 videos." He's like, "No." He's like, "This is thank you for all of whatever." He goes, "Go and have a drink on me, like, do something, do whatever." But that's my way of showing appreciation. And that it wasn't thousands of dollars. It wasn't even hundreds of dollars. It was that kindness. So many years later, even just his words saying like, "You fed me when I needed it. Thank you." And so again, 8 years later, that kindness comes back to you, and it comes back to you unexpectedly, and it comes back to you. And when it does, I don't know, I feel like it blooms and it flourishes in you, and it gives you something and that energy that you needed or have to have for that particular moment. So I just think it's so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was something recently that happened. Um, I live in a neighborhood. I'll try to make it as short as possible. Okay, so this house that we're living in right now, it came to us in a very crazy time in our lives. So we had sold our other house. We were pregnant with our fifth. My husband lost his job at the same time. We moved into my parents' basement, and um, and my mom got cancer, and so I was so grateful to be able to be in her house to help with that, and not have to choose between my mom and my kids all in the same place. And during this very just crazy time, we bought this house that we're living in now, which was a rehab. Look, we could barely afford groceries at that point, right? Obviously, I was in the energy of being there for my mom. My business wasn't exactly thriving at that time, and my husband lost his job, and we were rehabbing a house. And so our grass was just out of control growing, and I happened to live in one of those neighborhoods where that stuff matters, unfortunately. So somebody actually stuck a sign in our yard that said, have something like, have some respect and mow your lawn for this neighborhood, you're new here, kind of thing, right? And I'm just like, if you only knew, right? I didn't, with that minimalist mindset of like, I'm not even going to try to find out who this person is and explain my life to them. But so obviously that stuck with me. So my neighbors on one side, they're so kind, I love them so much. They recently gave us an inflatable sprinkler unicorn just because, right? And they were out of town on vacation, and I knew they'd be out of town for another week, and their grass got pretty tall after 1 week, and I knew it was going to be pretty tough to cut by the end of it, right? So we paid it forward, and while they were gone, we anonymously mowed their lawn because I didn't want them to get into trouble with the hood, right? It was whoever the almighty beings are that leave those signs. And it was funny because my kids are like, I'm having them do it with me, right? I did the front, they did the back, they did the weed whacking, and they're like, how much do we get paid? I'm like, no, I'm trying to teach you, you do things just because, and you're not going to tell the neighbors that you did it. You're not going to tell anyone that you did it. It's not even for the recognition. You just do things just because. So I like that you have that same mentality. And it's also sometimes a challenge to try and teach your kids. And really the only way is for them to watch you do things like that, for sure.
Yeah, Braxton's little best friend at school, they're inseparable. And very fortunately, his best friend's mother and I have become friends. And so we exchange kids. We love each other's child like they were our own. And so Blaze has been wanting to wear his shark costume to school every day, and he can't. And she's just exhausted from having to, negotiate with a 2-year old that, no, you cannot wear this costume. So she's negotiating with pajamas, and they're technically not supposed to wear pajamas to school. And she's just like, I just don't know what to do. And I was at Target the other day, and they had this little shark hat where it's like the shark body, and it like looks like it's eating your head. And my son loves sharks, but he does not like hats. So I bought it. I'm like, I'm going to give this to Blaze, and hopefully this will be that negotiation piece for him. Like, he can wear his hat to school, but he'll wear clothes. So yesterday I go to pick up Braxton, and he comes running outside. Hi, mommy, da 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 da. And Brittany works at the school, and said, hey. And I was like, I need Blaze. So he comes toddling over, and I get this big hug, and I said, I have something for you. And I put the shark hat on him, and it's like he floated off of the ground. I mean, like, this little kid just floated. He got so excited. And Braxton looked, and he's like, that's mine. And I was like, no. So Braxton and I got in the car, and Blaze loves his hat. I got like 6 pictures yesterday. He added glasses to it. He's in full costume mode with it. But Braxton and I had to have a conversation of like, mommy is able to give a gift to another little boy. Like, Blaze is your best friend. Like, you got that for him. You have to share. Like, mommy gets you things, but we can also get things for other people. So once we had that conversation a little bit, he thought about it, and he was like, Blaze got prize. I said, yes, Blaze got a prize. And he goes, okay. Because in Braxton's head, when you do something nice, you get a prize. And so last week we had to get his teacher, Erica, a prize, and he got her flowers, and she cried. This 3-year-old walking into school and has this big batch of sunflowers. And so I think you're right. Like, if we demonstrate those things to our children, they pick them up. But he needed to have a teachable moment of, you don't get upset when someone else gets a toy. You don't get upset when mommy gives someone else another toy. He doesn't have siblings. So it's not like he's seen someone else get something handed to him from me. So I do understand that was like a new concept. But he did really good. And so I was happy he eventually got it. But I think that's still a conversation that adults have a hard time understanding is, gifting, gifting or blessing someone else just because they are in need or deserve it. I'm a big fan of the pay it forward in the Starbucks line. I'm a big
Mm-hmm.
fan of my girlfriends were all across the country, and some of us have kids, some of us don't. And my one friend is in Fayetteville. Her husband's in the service. And there's a lot of times that he's gone on deployment and I can't be there to help her. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'll send like a $10 Dunkin' gift card or something in the mail or a funny meme or something to let her know, like, I can't have a cup of coffee with you this morning and I really wish I could. So
Yeah.
like have a cup of coffee on me. And then my other group of friends, we're really good at sending Amazon presents to each other. We get mailed to our house all the time, and it's like, I didn't order this. And so we go into the group message like, all right, which one of you sent me which one of you sent me this? And COVID was so funny. The poor Amazon guy probably thought we bought out Amazon, because between family and friends across the country and in need, I was out of work. One of my big contracts got canceled with COVID, and so for a
Mm.
few months I didn't have any income, and I was very fortunate to be surrounded by friends and family who were able to help, take care of us. So a friend sent Braxton a slide and was like, he can
Oh.
play inside or outside, and he loves the slide, and it's gotten its absolute use out of it. And another person had sent him jammies because we're inside all day, and he went from a size 3T in March to in July, August, he was a straight 4 5. So he went like three sizes in that short time. So he grew out of all of his clothes. So he didn't have pajamas that fit him. So someone sent him pajamas. And so I think when you have a really great tribe, really great group of friends, and really good energy that you're putting out and people are putting into you, really does make a difference in your outlook in life.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's also something to say about that in terms of your own self-care, and not that you're doing this for yourself, or anybody would be doing this for yourself with the mindset of I'm helping others to help me. But if, especially during COVID, you found yourself just in this black hole that you couldn't get yourself out of, in terms of the anxiety of the unknown, and certain things were happening that just weren't going your way, one of the main things that you can do to take care of yourself are to just look outwardly and look at other people, and send a nice note to somebody who made a difference in your life. Handwrite it and send it to them in the mail, even if you don't have funds maybe to send
That's
them
so funny.
something.
I
Yeah.
keep cards on my desk, and as I think of people, we mail them out. I have one
Awesome.
that's going to my nephew for Halloween.
That's
I'm a
awesome.
huge fan of written notes. I have terrible handwriting, but I don't care. I love sending handwritten notes out. I even started and designed and have in my shop like printed cards that I created. And I love the fact that you can send that out. So I'm gonna let you finish, but yes, I love.
No, 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 I don't have anything else.
A handwritten note to me is just so purposeful. I
Yeah.
had to pick it out. I had to write it. I had to take the time. I had to address it. I had to put a stamp, and I had to put it into a mailbox. There's so many steps of being deliberate in your intention. And not saying that an email or a text message or a phone call isn't wonderful. There's
Mm-hmm.
just so many deliberate steps when it comes to a physical piece of mail that you're sending to someone else. It's so intimate, it's so warm, it's so comforting. And during COVID, we have a predominantly older church um, population. And so Braxton colored and decorated 45 cards, and we sent them out to members of
Oh.
our church. And he had stickers or he colored or whatever else. And, if we didn't get any back, that was fine. But we wanted people to know that they were taken care of, and they had just a little bit of like some of his happy energy was sent to them. And so I try to do that on all of our cards, that he gets to write something. And I started doing that when he was a baby. I'd put like something in his hand and we kind of do a little scribble, and now he knows that he does his little letters or whatever into a card. And I think it just makes it so special. If he remains in your life, you can see the progression of his, literally his signature for you, his
Mm-hmm.
his feelings for you. And so I'm a huge fan of handwritten notes, of the cards. And that was part of the reason why I started the self-care simplified boxes, is the fact that you can get something in the mail, either for yourself or for someone else. So here's our box. And it's so beautiful. The color is so gorgeous, whether you're getting it for yourself and it's a gift to yourself, or someone who needs a little bit of care or consideration. Edible arrangements is great, and flowers are gorgeous and wonderful, but those are things that after a certain time they're done. And there's items in this that you can carry over for forever. And that was the concept, is that every time you pick up your mug or you have that ornament or that notepad, you can remember that gift or that person or that moment of self-care, and recognition and things like that. And I think that's what's important, is when you're thinking of someone. Again, my set of girlfriends, we all love plants, and so I just found like a succulent subscription service. And
Oh.
so for Christmas, I don't think they're watching this video. So for Christmas, I'm going to gift each of them like 2 months of succulents, and then they can decide if they want to carry their subscription over. But in wintertime, being able to get plants delivered to your home, oh, that just sounds so
Yeah.
decadent and so wonderful. And my office has succulents and plants and rocks spread out everywhere. And so I love the concept of like, oh, even for me, I could get like two
Oh
little
yeah.
plants that come in. And if you're local to Pittsburgh, Shady Side Nursery is amazing when it comes to their plants and their succulents and their herbs and their flowers. I've worked with them now since COVID, and they've just been absolutely wonderful. So if you're looking for something local, Shady Side Nursery.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I love that you said that you even get it for yourself, because very often we can, as much as I just, part of the helping you look outwardly and doing things for other people, when you're in that same moment of just needing a little pick me up, yeah, go ahead and pick something up for yourself. I know that whenever I order groceries, I will add a succulent or a bouquet of flowers or something for me, that's exciting out of the groceries, right?
Absolutely. I do that too. And I love being able to have fresh flowers. I've taught Braxton that fresh flowers are wonderful to have in the house. And so here's one of my succulents that I love, and
Oh,
it's
I
in a
love it.
little sloth dish. And the reason why I have it here above my desk is that, sloths move slow, and they might not pace faster than anything else, but they still get to their destination, and they're still happy, and they're still able, and they're still capable. And so it's kind of a reminder that I don't have to be on a road runner
Mm-hmm.
pace in order to achieve the things that I need to do. So slow and steady, be happy like a sloth. They sleep and eat and move slow, but they're happy. And so it's a really great little reminder for me, to see that succulent and see that sloth kind of right there. And it's cute too. My son loves being able to see it. And there's a lot of little odes to him in my office that make me happy and get a chance to look at them and remember. Um,
Yeah.
so if
It's also a lifestyle too that we talk a lot about with my husband, is just the kind of the sloth lifestyle of not having to go, or fear of missing out or doing all these activities. We're very much, in terms of our minimalist mindset and our minimalist life, all about just being home as much as we can with the kids. So COVID actually wasn't that big of an adjustment for us in terms of our life, because we're home a lot with our kids anyways, because we find that that's truly where the most quality time happens for us and our family, and every family is different. So I can totally relate to that about the sloth, because we try to live that way. And I remember growing up, my dad, if I was trying to do too many things at once, he would say, just focus on one thing and really like think about how your arm is opening that door and grabbing that thing, and appreciate the movements that your body is doing. And because I've always been like one to get it done, so the minimalist mindset does help me with that. I'm a quick decision maker, quick action taker, get things done, make it happen. And so trying to remember of that kind of the sloth life does help me out too sometimes.
Yeah, COVID wasn't difficult for me either. I was ready for the slowdown.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very plagued by having not FOMO. I didn't have the fear of missing out. It just, in the industries that I had been in, political and networking were important, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to stay in and know and relevant, and getting your business and the next client, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of flipping over those next things. So it was a ton of networking events and
Mm-hmm.
parties and awards events, and you know it was a beautiful life. And I'm not saying that it wasn't. It's just, it was so exhausting to,
Right.
okay, let me map out my day. There was one, I shouldn't even say one, there were multiple days where my car had 4 or 5 different outfits, because depending on my meetings and the things that I needed to do that day, I had to be in those different outfits in a different frame. So working in the film industry, I can't show up to set in heels and a dress and full makeup because I'm a producer. I'm running, I'm doing. So, you're trying to figure that out. But then, well, here I have a black tie event this evening. I live an hour from the city. I'm not going to run home, change
Right.
and come back. And
Right.
so many of bathrooms, many of friends' bathrooms where I called and was like, hey, I'm like 5 from your house. Can I just curl my hair in your bathroom? And my one
Yeah.
guy friend at the time, he said, yeah, I guess. And I said, only because like, I can't do this in a bathroom. Like I
Yeah.
can't go to where the event is and do my hair and makeup and get dressed. It's just completely unprofessional. And he saw me walk in black jeans and a t-shirt, and I came out in like almost a ball gown, and he was like, what just happened? And I'm like, this is called magic. And he's like, it took you 35 minutes. And I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm running late. But I say all that to say, at a very long story, I apologize. I was happy COVID happened because I was able to snuggle. I didn't have to do night events. I didn't have to get on a plane and leave. I didn't have to romp. I didn't have to be in places. I was so burnt out from networking. I was so burnt out from the happy hours and the events and organizations. And it felt like it was the same thing, different iteration. You weren't meeting new people. It was just the same feeling. And it was like, I can't keep doing this. And so I think COVID has helped us understand that we don't have to be present for everything. I love the fact that I can do 2 or 3 different board meetings in an evening and say, all right, guys, let's go. We have, this amount of time. I can give you till this time, and then I got to go.
Right.
Or, set up my son and he can do what he needs to, and I could be present, but I can turn the camera off and get him dinner or get him a snack or whatever else, and then pop right back in. And so there's a lot of negatives that COVID has brought us, but one of the positives is that I think the world is finally starting to adapt, that people have multiple roles, and the intersection of those roles happen and are fluid. Just because
Right.
you're working, you don't stop becoming a mom. And just
Right.
because you're a mom doesn't always mean that you can stop working or be a caregiver or a partner or whatever the case may be. And I think our world has now realized, oh, you have to be a mom, you have to be a partner, you have to run your business. Oh, you care about the community. Oh, and you want to be, sustainable, caring, kind. Oh, and you want hobbies. Oh, well, let's not forget that you need to clean your house and do laundry and mow your grass and get the car inspected. And so I think we're giving grace to everybody to have those capabilities to function in those roles. I had a board meeting last night and they said, are you going to be able to get on for it? I said, no. I've had a few late nights. Braxton will not handle the fact that I'll be on the computer again for another night. Fill me in. If you want to text me updates or questions, I'm happy to do that, but he'll need my time. The meeting was fine. It was accomplished. I
Right.
don't know if me being there or not being there played a part in anything. I reviewed the minutes, I offered suggestions, and everyone was happy. And
Right.
so it's being able to set those priorities that you can participate in multiple things. You could just have to get preference to at what particular time is most important.
Right. And that's one of the things that I actually talk to my clients a lot about, is making those connections online. So you don't have to feel like you have to go to all these events, even when they do start to happen again, which they're starting to. And really reminding them that you don't want to really get sucked back into that. There's a lot that you can accomplish while being at home with your kids, and you decide when you show up in a way that is personally connecting with your online audience, so you don't have to go to all these places. If you enjoy it, great, but don't feel like you have to do all these things of going outside of the house and being part, and even virtually being part of this meeting and that meeting and that meeting. I've been able to hit, a 40K months and beyond during COVID. And I don't do any of that. I'm a mom of 5, and that's not to say that I have to give that up because I'm a mom of 5. I love being a mom of 5, and I choose to be a mom of 5. So that means that I choose not to partake in any of that, even virtually. And so it's really having that mindset, is that you don't have to do all that in order to get to your multi 6-figure income. You can just do things that are in alignment with you and who you are, and you don't owe anybody any explanations. You don't owe anybody any excuses. You just simply say I can't, and go from there. And just trust that everything will still fall on your lap how it's supposed to.
I agree. And I feel like that's a really great point to wrap up. So tell us again how we can get in contact with you. I think there's quite a few people who are listening to this and will catch the recap that would be really interested in your services. And I think your coaching can just help them take them from where they are to that next level. So how do we contact you? Email, Facebook, smoke signals?
Smoke signals are the best. That's what I want. No, my Instagram, follow me at Marta Greca, or my personal Facebook at Marta Greca. I use my personal Facebook just as I do my LinkedIn, and just at Marta Greca on either of those platforms, you'll find me and you'll know what to do next.
Perfect. Well, thank you for this wonderful coffee and chat.
Sure.
If no one's told you, you're doing a great job and being able to handle just absolutely everything. I see the content that you push out daily. I saw that your team has expanded. You've moved to a new location for your offices. And so you've been making a lot of really big moves. And from one entrepreneur or mompreneur to another, I'm so proud to see how your journey, just in the short time that I have known you, has progressed. It's really inspiring to see that in times where everyone else feels that things have to be halted, you're realizing that this is a catalyst for some really great things.
Right back at you.
Well, thank you. Well, thanks everyone for coffee and chats. Have a great Thursday. I'm going to finish my coffee and kick ass for the day. Thank you again, Marta, for joining us.
Sure.